Hello, everybody. Let me get my microphone adjusted here. Let me get everything in place. Let me make sure that the camera is ready to go. I think it is. Let's see. Will it focus on my hand? Yes, it will. And then will it focus on me? Yes, it will. Awesome. Hey, it's good to see all of you. We'll get started momentarily in about 15 seconds, actually. Awesome. It looks like everything is working properly. We'll start in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Well, hello, and welcome to this English lesson about homophones. Homophones, if you weren't aware, are words that have different spellings, but they sound the same. If you look at the word homophone, it has the word phone at the end, which is probably, I'm just going to guess here, it's probably related to a word in another language that means sound. So a homophone then is a set of words that are spelled differently, but they sound the same. You'll probably be able to guess maybe what the first set will be once I get the lesson started, but I hope you enjoy this lesson. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes. In English, sometimes we spell words the same and then say them differently. Sometimes we spell them differently and then we say them with the same pronunciation. So this lesson will focus on that second set. Homophones, again, words that are spelled differently, but they sound the same, but they also have different meanings. So I will try to explain them as best as I possibly can in this English lesson. Before we get started, once again, I do want to say hi to everyone. Let me do an audio check here for a sec. Everything seems to be working right, but it's always good to do a little check. I do want to say hi to Audie, Maria C, Mode Ags, Lolly Lolly, Freddie Wolf is here as well. Key Park, Dave is here to moderate the chat. Good to see you, Dave. Harry 300 is here. John Wedge. Let me see. Masterly, Ataglo. Mahmood is here. Let me scroll back and see who else I recognize. A lot of familiar faces, definitely, and it's good to see all of you. If you do have a question during this lesson, if you're new here and you don't know how this works, there is a link. You follow the link, you click on it, and then you fill out a form, and the questions will go into a nice list for me to choose from. I'll take some time during the lesson to stop and answer those questions, and then I'll continue the lesson after usually I get caught up at some point, but that might not happen till the end today. We'll see. If you do want to have a conversation in the chat, please do that in English. As much as it's fun to learn from me, you can also learn from the other people who are at this lesson. So enjoy the chat, enjoy the conversations in English, and don't ask questions in the chat. Sometimes the chat just goes too fast and there's no way to easily see them and for me to answer them. But I think maybe we should get started. What do you think? Should we get started? Let's do that. So hare and hare. Again, homophones are pronounced the same way, but spelled differently. You can see that I have hair on my head. In fact, I think it's time for me to get a haircut. And I should probably trim my beard and mustache a bit too. I noticed that this morning. But yes, this is hare. This little animal here is also a hare. Rabbits and hares are slightly different, but they look the same. They're an animal that jumps and hops and has really big ears. But you can tell that both words are pronounced the same. I have hair on my head. Sometimes when I'm out for a hike, I might see a hare. So again, same pronunciation, but of course, very different meanings. Plane and plane. So if you go on a trip, you go on a plane. You get a ticket to go on a plane. When you're on the plane, the pilot might say, prepare for takeoff. Is that what they say? Please fasten your seatbelt. I haven't been on a plane for a number of years, so I don't actually know how it works. In fact, the last time I went on a plane, I think I still had a paper ticket. I think now everything's digital. This bagel, it's kind of something made out of flour and water. This bagel is a plain bagel. So again, I'm trying to point here. There we go. Different spellings, different meanings, same pronunciation. When I buy bagels, I like to buy what's called an everything bagel. I find a plain bagel to be a little bit boring. I also like cinnamon raisin bagels. Those are yummy. But plain is a very popular choice in our house for sure. Sometimes your car breaks down and then you need a tow. You need to call a tow truck because you can't drive your car. Sometimes maybe you have a flat tire. Maybe the engine won't turn over. And so you need a tow. And so you would call a tow truck. On your feet, though, you have on each foot toes. You have 5 toes on each foot. And your toes are what help you walk and keep your balance. I'm not sure how this works, but the toes are what make the foot stable when it contacts the ground. I think when you walk with bare feet, you can kind of grip the ground with your toes a little bit. This is my action for toe. It's a little strange looking. But yes, sometimes your car will break down and you need a tow. Sometimes you might hit your foot against the wall and stub your toe. That's what we say when you hurt your toe in that way. Bare and bare. So I made sure I found a picture of someone who wasn't bare naked. This man is at least wearing something, but his back is bare. You'll notice earlier I said that when you have bare feet, you can use your toes to grip the carpet. But on the other side of this slide, there is a bear. A bear is a type of animal. There are bears in Canada. When you go to northern Ontario or when you go out west, there are bears. There are black bears. Out west, there are grizzly bears. Bears are ferocious, dangerous animals. If you see a bear, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do. Don't go where there are bears. That's what you should do. Bears are dangerous. But sometimes in the summer, you might want to enjoy the sun a little bit. So you might have your arms bare in the summer. You might wear a short sleeve shirt. Or like I said before, you might walk around in bare feet. And of course, the phrase we use when someone has no clothes on is we say they are naked, or we might say they're bare naked. We might add the word bare to that as well. There's a pizza over there. There's a whole pizza. No one has eaten a slice yet. There's a whole pizza on the far side there. It looks yummy, although I think it might have olives on it. I'm not sure. I do like olives, but I like black olives a little better than green olives. But there is a whole pizza over there. The person who ordered it said they wanted pepperoni on the whole pizza, cheese on the whole pizza, and I think it's either hot peppers or olives on the whole pizza. This person, though, closer to me, has used a drill to drill a hole. The piece of wood has a hole in it now. Again, same pronunciation. You can eat a whole pizza. I don't recommend it. You can use a drill to drill a hole if you need a hole in something. Beat and beat. Now, beat has a number of different meanings. You can use it to talk about beating a drum. You can also use it to talk about when someone beats someone else. Not a very nice thing to happen. But when you use the word beat with the A in it, you could say, oh, he's beating the drums. You can also say he's playing a beat on the drums. But closer to me here, you'll see a vegetable, a root vegetable that we call a beet. Beets are usually very, very dark, red, purple, kind of a mixture of the two. And when you cook beets, it has a very unique smell. So you play a beat on a drum and you can eat beets if you like them. Not everyone likes beets. Sometimes if you look at the far side, you'll see that there's a small insect called a flea. Sometimes dogs and cats will have fleas on them. Fleas are not very nice. The fleas bite the dog or bite the cat. But sometimes you're in a situation where you need to run away. You need to flee. So this is another verb we use to mean to run away. Usually we use this to talk about a dangerous situation. The building was on fire. They needed to flee the building. Or there was a concern in the area that there was someone doing something bad. So people needed to flee the area. So it simply means that you need to run away. You need to flee. And usually when there's an emergency of some kind. When you need to stop your car, you will use the brakes to brake. It's a verb and a noun. So your car has brakes, B-R-A-K-E, brakes. Your car has brakes. It has a brake pedal. When you want to brake, you push the brake pedal and then the brakes will slow your car down. Notice it's a verb and a noun. I think I mentioned that already. But sometimes people will break something. This person is trying to break the door, and he's trying to break into the house. So I use that as a verb as well. So he's trying to break the door, and when he has broken the door, he will be inside. Hopefully he doesn't steal anything. Just a minute. Steal and steal. Those are homophones too. I think I have a slide for those coming up. We'll see if I remember. So this was on the thumbnail, pause and pause. When you're listening to music or when you're watching something on your computer or on your TV, if you need to get a drink or go to the washroom or bathroom, as they say in America, you might hit the pause button. The pause button stops. You could actually do that with a live stream. You could pause right now and go get a drink and come back and hit play when you come back. But pause, these little footprints here, paws are what dogs and cats and other animals like that have. So my dogs have 4 paws. When they walk in the mud, they leave paw prints, but they definitely have paws. Walter likes to jump and put his paws on you. It's not very nice right now. If I'm leaving for work wearing clean clothes, sometimes Walter will try to put his paws on me. And then once I did get muddy and I had to change my shirt. But the pause button will stop something that's playing, like music or a video, and dogs and cats and other animals like that have paws. Night and night. So last night it rained. Last night I woke up and I heard the sound of rain outside. So when it's nighttime, at night, it's very dark outside. Sometimes you'll see the moon and stars at night. I'm trying to use the phrase at night a bit because I know people have trouble with prepositions. I did the same with on a plane, and I'll try to do that as much as I can. But at night, it's very peaceful outside, but it can also be a little bit scary. Not everyone enjoys being outside at night. And then a knight is a person who, in history, who wore lots of armor and had a sword and a shield, and they fought in different battles. So at night, it's dark outside. If you watch movies about a long time ago, you might see a knight. Anyways, let's look at questions, folks. Let me get a moment. Let me take a moment here, first of all, to make sure things are working correctly. And then let me get to the questions. Well, it looks like everything's working properly. Sorry, I pronounced that a little funny, didn't I? Properly. It was a little bit of British pronunciation there. I normally say properly, not properly. Here we go. Let me find the first question. From Yaroslav, morning, the wisest teacher Bob. Hope you're terrific. I try my best. My students don't like homophones, though I make them learn them. I am interested in linguistics. You. Yes, more and more I'm interested in linguistics. I do find the unique characteristics of the English language fascinating, but I find the unique characteristics of the French language more fascinating. But homophones they're frustrating. And I don't know if it's a good idea to learn them separately. I think it's a good idea to learn them together like we're doing today, although some people may argue differently. Let's see, Renata. Bonjour Bob, comment vas-tu aujourd'hui? Je vais bien. Everything's good today. Do you remember studying homophones in college? Did you always want to be a teacher as a kid? Have a nice day. Bonne journée. So we learned homophones in elementary school, actually. When I went to elementary school, we would have classes on pronunciation and phonics and spelling, and we would learn all about the English language. And that's where we learned about homonyms and homophones and all of those fun things. From Lynn, hi teacher, how you doing? Good. I found that the word fall and fault have the same pronunciation, but have totally different meaning. They're actually slightly different. When you trip, you fall. When you do something wrong, it might be your fault. We do hit the T in fault. If I'm speaking quickly, if I say it's your fault, I might not say the T as hard. Like, it's not my fault, it's his fault. And it might sound more like fault, but they are different. There is still just a little T sound at the end. So watch for that and practice it. Let's see. Bayan says, it's colder than here. Which one is correct? Does, is, has. Oh, it's cold. Yeah, if you said it's -20 where you are, I would say, wow, it's colder than here. That's what I would say. Hopefully I'm answering your question. Let's see here. Here we go. Hi, Uncle Bob. Please read it slowly. The dump was so full that the workers had to refuse more refuse. The soldier decided to desert his tasty dessert in the desert. Yeah, there you go. Those are tricky ones. Hopefully I read them correctly. There are a lot of fun phrases like that. I can't think of one off the top of my head. Let's see here. I am skipping questions that aren't related to the topic, just so you know. Some people are asking some pretty random questions. So Juliana says, hi Bob, good to see you. Quick question. How to recognize and properly use homophones in English, besides understanding the context of the scenario? Thank you. So it should eventually become automatic as long as you're using them enough, okay? So let's take, for instance, break and break. You'll know when you're writing a sentence, if you're saying he had to brake really hard to avoid hitting someone, you should automatically start to know that that's B-R-A-K, and that if you're at work and you need to take a break, that it's B-R-E-A-K. But you do need to use these words in context. That's really, there isn't any, like, you can practice this, you can have someone explain it to you, but until you start making sentences and intentionally using the correct word, you'll have trouble using them freely without thinking. Let's see here. Ario, hola, Mr. Bob. Wow, so many of the same words but different meaning. How many words in English are like that anyway? Well, I picked out 42 pairs this morning, I think 41. And I think these are the most common homophones. As I was going through massive lists, I picked out the ones that you are most likely to use in everyday English. Emran says, the problem with homophones is that they trip you up. Homophones are tricky because, like myself, I'm not a native speaker. Yeah, and it's hard for me as a native speaker to explain how I know how to use the right one. Here's what I will tell you though. When English-speaking students write in English, they still sometimes get them mixed up, okay? They'll use the wrong word because they know it sounds correct. They know if they were speaking, that it doesn't matter. And then when they do some writing, they might use the wrong one. Let's see here. I'm not sure about this name here. So anyways, Seedon says, hello, Bob. Can you use accept and accept in one sentence? We accept all types of credit cards at this store, except the Discover card. Okay, so I pronounce accept and accept the same way. They do, in some English speakers will pronounce them slightly differently, but let me repeat. We accept, A-C-C-E-C-P-T. We accept all credit cards at this store except the Discover card. Okay, and can you use compliment and compliment in one sentence? Thank you. So I can give you a compliment. I can say your hair looks nice today. That's a compliment. But if you have like an orange shirt and then another shirt that matches well, you could say they're a good complement for each other. So there you go. Let's see. Let me just check one thing for a sec. I'm just looking something up. I want to make sure. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, let me keep going with the questions here. Let me find the next one. Let's see. Al Sherry says, thank you so much for all your videos. My question is, how can you follow your table? Oh, my timetable? Management of your time. I make the table to organize my time, but I fail to follow it. Well, I have had, first of all, I'm old. I'm 51. I have had many times in my life where I've been too busy. And in those times of being too busy, I have learned some strategies to be a little less busy and to stay organized. So part of it is just experience. Another thing I do is I very quickly say no when someone asks me to do something until I've talked to Jen. So Jen helps me manage my time as well. And I think I usually look for ways to do things in a very efficient way. A good example would be my short English lessons on my other channel. They do not require editing. I talk for 4 minutes straight. No matter what happens, that video goes on to YouTube. And people actually like it because I make little mistakes and then fix them. But yeah, you have to find ways to be efficient with your time. Hey, let's get back to the lesson because there are a lot of slides to get through. Here we go. Scent and scent. Do you know what lavender is? If you look on the far picture, you'll see what's called lavender. Lavender has an amazing scent. If you ever go to a lavender farm or walk through a lavender field, it just smells amazing. The scent of lavender is beautiful. It's a nice smell. This on the close picture though is a penny or a couple of pennies. So we would call this 1 cent, 2 cents actually. But scent, which refers to smell, and cent, which refers to 1 penny, have the same pronunciation. Knot and knot. When you pull your boat up to the dock, you need to tie it up with a good knot. Hopefully you at some point in your life learned to tie knots. You at the least should know how to tie a knot on your shoe, but learning how to tie a knot in a rope or string is just a good skill to have. Sometimes you go somewhere and you're not allowed to do something. This red circle with the line through is kind of a symbol for things you're not allowed to do. It might have a cigarette in the middle. It might have a cell phone, a phone in the middle, which means no smoking or you're not allowed to use your cell phone. Knot and knot. Heel and heel. If you hurt yourself, it looks like this person hurt their hand, maybe even broke a finger, and now they have to wait for their finger to heal. They have to wait weeks. They can't bend their finger because it needs to heal. I don't know if you've ever broken a bone or hurt yourself, but it's not a lot of fun when you're waiting to heal. Sometimes it can be quite boring. What I recommend is that you watch lots of English lessons on YouTube. If you've broken a bone or if you've been sick and you're waiting to heal, do that. And then, of course, the back part of your foot is called the heel. I actually hurt my heel a couple weeks ago, actually a couple months ago now, because I jumped on and off the tractor a lot one day and I kept landing. And then the next day my heel was sore. So I had to wait for my heel to heal. In the far picture, you'll see people under the ground digging out ore and minerals. We would say that that person is a miner. A miner is someone who works in a mine. A miner is someone who mines ore, or something like coal. There are a lot of different things that we dig out of the earth, a lot of things that we mine, and the people who do it are called miners. In this close picture, you see some children playing hockey, and we would say that they are miners. In Ontario, Canada, if you are under the age of 18, you are a minor. It means that you are not an adult yet. There are things you're not allowed to do because you're a minor. And then we also use it to talk about things like these kids are playing in minor hockey. So we have minor hockey leagues, which mean they're leagues, hockey leagues for kids who are under the age of 18. When you bake bread, you use flour. Flour is made from wheat. We harvest wheat, we dry the wheat kernel, we grind the wheat up, and then, well, we don't do that. Someone else does that. We just go to the store and buy a bag of flour. Then we come home and we bake things like bread or cakes using the flour. Jen and I grow flowers. A flower is a nice, beautiful plant with a stem and petals, and it just looks beautiful. And sometimes it has a nice scent like lavender. So you bake bread with flour. You make a bouquet with flowers as well. I should rephrase this. You don't use flour, like when you bake with flour, there's no plural to flour. Well, I guess you could say there's different kinds of flours at the store, but normally you bake with flour, a cup of flour. You make a bouquet though with many, many different flowers. When I go to work, I wear a shoe. My shoe actually looks a lot like the shoe way over there. I have a pair of brown shoes. I have a pair of black shoes. It's nice to have good shoes. I'm on my feet all day. I need to be comfortable when I wear my shoes. I need to be, I need to be able to come home and not have sore feet. Sometimes though, a fly will buzz around while I'm doing my lesson, or maybe one of my dogs will come and try to interrupt me when I'm making a video, and then I shoo them away. I'll even say that word. I'll be like, shoo, get out of here, or shoo, get out of here if it was a fly. I wouldn't do this for a dog. Whine and whine. Someone who whines a lot, when you whine, when you look like this man over here with the kind of the grouchy look, it means you complain a lot. Oh, why do I have to work an extra hour? Why do I have to? Sometimes my kids whine. If they don't like what we made for supper, they'll whine and say, I don't want to eat this. This isn't very yummy. So when you whine, it means you are complaining. We do, however, make something from grapes, which is called wine. Grapes grow in a vineyard. They're harvested. They're pressed for their juice. The juice is fermented, and eventually we have what's called wine, which is a beverage or drink with alcohol in it made from grapes. So this is kind of a funny one. Last night for supper, we had peas. We cook different vegetables all the time. Last night we had peas. Peas are small, green spheres, I guess. A sphere is like a sphere is a, try to explain what a sphere is. It's a round 3D object. Never mind. A pea is a kind of vegetable. This person, though, is by the toilet and he is taking a pee. This is an informal way to talk about, I guess the scientific word would be urination. But in English, we'll say, I need to go to the bathroom. If you're talking to someone you know well, like a family member or a friend, you might use the informal phrase, oh, I just need to go pee, or I need to take a pee. I'll see you in a minute. I just need to go pee. So this guy is at the toilet. He's taking a pee. Remember, this is kind of informal. Normally, you would just say that you need to go to the bathroom. Oh, I just need to go to the bathroom before we leave. I love it when I go to a store and things are on sale. When a store has a sale, it means that things are cheaper than normal. Maybe they're 10% off or 20% off. You can see I'm getting excited already. Whenever something is on sale, I can buy more and use less money. A ship like this, though, this boat has a sail on it. It uses a sail in order to catch the wind and to have propulsion, I guess would be the word for it. So when you go to a store, sometimes things are on sale. When you go in a sailboat, it has a sail. So when you build something out of wood, you're going to need boards. A board is a piece of wood that has been made square. So they chop down the tree, they cut the lumber into boards, and you're going to need to buy a board. We saw a board earlier when the picture of someone that drilled a hole through the board. This kid, though, is bored. He is not enjoying what's happening in his class or wherever he is. This kid is bored. When you're bored, you're not excited. You're not happy. You're not enjoying what's happening. But usually if I go and buy a lot of boards to build something, I'm not bored, okay? Because I like building things. If you look way over there, these two guys are in a band. They've decided that they're going to play music together, and so they've formed a band, and they are now playing in a band. One guy is playing the guitar, the other guy is playing the saxophone. A band is just a group of people who play different instruments to make music. It's fun to go to a concert and see a popular band. But sometimes something might be banned. When something is banned, it means it's not allowed anymore. At our school, certain kinds of video games are banned. You're not allowed to play games on your phone. It's banned. On the property of public buildings in Ontario, smoking is banned. You're not allowed to smoke. So if you play music with a group of people, you would probably call it a band. And if you go somewhere and you're not allowed to do something, we would say that it is banned. Same pronunciation. Hey, the ocean has tides. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. The water is different levels. It's different heights at different times of the day. So when you see the tide coming in, you probably want to move back. If you're sitting close to the edge of the ocean and you don't want to get wet, you would move back because the tide is coming in. But like the word knot, when you have ropes, you sometimes they need to be tied. So here you can see that these ropes are tied to what looks like a sail. So you make a knot in order to tie a rope to something, and then you say it is tied. This is definitely tied up. One of my favorite things to eat is something called a sundae. When I have ice cream, I like to have it in a bowl, sometimes with some nuts or pieces of chocolate and some chocolate sauce. We would call that a sundae. It's different than an ice cream cone where you have something that's kind of like a cookie, I guess, with ice cream on top. A sundae is in a bowl. And when you go to a restaurant, you can say, oh, I'll have a chocolate fudge sundae, or I'll have a strawberry sundae. So that would be ice cream with whatever you wanted on top of it. So definitely it's ice cream with toppings, which is pronounced the same way as the day of the week. In a couple days, it will be Sunday. Sunday is a really nice day. It's a day where, at least in this part of the world, you don't need to work. So Sunday is kind of fun. It's part of the weekend. Saturday and Sunday are the 2 days that I use as my weekend. I work from Monday to Friday, and I have Saturday and Sunday off. So that's very, very nice. Hey, let's do some members only questions. Let me see where I am. Got quite a few slides left. So this lesson might go a bit long, but let's do some members only questions. Let me get that set up for a moment. And as I do that, let me have a sip of water. And let me just say one thing. I really like having members. There's a couple things that happen when you have members. One, members tend to be around a lot more, and members tend to chat with me a bit more before the live streams. Members tend to leave more comments. And so I feel like the members are actually the people I know a little bit. They're the regulars on the channel. So thank you to all of you who are members. It's been fun getting to know you, and it's fun answering all of your questions. So if you're a member, feel free to ask questions in the chat. And oh, I see we're getting some suggestions. Allowed and allowed, definitely. From Lolly. Musa says aisle and aisle. Yes, definitely. Sheer and sheer. Sun and, oh yes, sun and sun. I forgot that one. Stas, first question. Hello, dear teacher Bob. Recently I heard a joke of why 6 is afraid of 7. Do you know something similar to this? Yes. There's a joke. So 6 is afraid of 7 because 7, 8, 9, which they're using homophones there, right? They're making it sound like 7 actually ate the number 9, like sat down for supper and ate the number 9. So 6 is afraid of 7 because 7, 8, 9. But you're also just saying the numbers in order when you say that. Very cool. Key Park, male and male. That one's coming up, actually. Freddie says, Salute Bob. Are the words sword and sore homophones? No, there's a slight, he attacked me with a sword. You do say the D, sword. I've noticed, though, lately, when I analyze my own talking, often a trailing D or a word that ends in D, the D sound is very subtle, like sword or word. I am saying the D, it just doesn't, I don't think we pronounce it very clearly or loudly. So sword, I'm going to overpronounce now, sword, and then, sore. My sword, my tongue is actually in a different spot with sword. It hits the front of the top of my mouth. With sore, my tongue is actually pulled back when I'm done saying the word. Let's see. John Wedge. Hello, Bob. How are you? No question today. I love this kind of lesson. Is awesome. There, and there. No and no. 8 and 8. Poor and poor are actually slightly different pronunciations, though. Okay. You're going to pour something, and then he doesn't have money, so he's poor. So a little different there. Good suggestions, though. Let's see here. Seyun says, can you tell the difference by, and by? Yes. He parked his car by my car. BY. He waved by, BYE. And then I'm going to buy something, pay money for it, BUY. Maria C. Hi, Bob. I have a question related to whine. Can you say that someone who complains a lot is a whiner or a complainer? Yes, you would probably say both. He's a whiner and a complainer. He's just a whiner. Yes, you would say that. It's very rude and informal, though. You should know that. Musa says shear and shear. Yes, now you got it right. You can shear a sheep, and out of sheer joy. Ricardo, 3 and tree are actually different pronunciations. Here we go. So there were 3 men at the party. 3. I'm sitting under a tree. So look at my mouth. 3. You can see my tongue a little bit. 3. Sitting under a tree. So look at, I start each word slightly differently. 3, tree. Let's see here. I have a whole bunch of hole punches. That's a good one, Mode. Yes, I have a whole bunch of hole punches. 2 words that sound exactly the same. Can we add that word bear with me to bear and bear? So I'll explain this and why this is funny. If you say bear with me, it means, you know, please just tolerate what I'm doing for a little bit. Just be kind to me while I say something. Bear with me. B-E-A-R. If you're bear with me, though, it means neither of us have clothes on. He was bear with me. That's just a weird thing to say. So that would be B-A-R-E. Let me see here. Let me just check something. Okay, there. I can't bear to... There, and there, says Naomi. I can't bear this bear in the park. Had and head. So Musa had. He had a hat on his head. Slightly different vowel sounds. He had a hat on his head. So I'm going to open my mouth a bit more and make more of an A sound. Had on head. Okay. Mode says poor and poor are homophones. Poor sounds a little different. That's correct. Yes. Lolly says that's a good one. Or sorry, Naomi says that's a good one. Yaroslav, thanks for doing what you're doing. I have the motivation to learn English like I have never heard about it. That's awesome, Yaroslav. Maria C, another question. Is the word steak pronounced in 2 different ways and with 2 different meanings? So steak can refer to a piece of meat from, like a piece of beef, a flat piece of beef, we would call a steak. But and that's S-T-E-A-K. But if you have a piece of wood you pound in the ground, we call it a stake, S-T-A-K-E. And I don't think I have a slide for that one. Let's see here. Musa says, got to get my reading glasses here. Ball and bowl. So B-O-L-L is not a word. And ball that you play with and bowl that you eat out of are pronounced slightly differently. I know it's hard to hear the sound, but he hit the ball. He ate soup from a bowl. Kind of goes a little lower when I say bowl. Ralph, it's fair to pay the fare. I'm confused. So many words I know and seemingly not know in the right way. Yes, that's why homophones are annoying. Because you think you know them, and then when you accidentally use the wrong one. Let's see. Sorry, mistyping. Oh, I see, Noriko. Got it. Modegs, Mr. Bob, do you pronounce dose and doze the same way? Brent says the first word with a Z. It might be something similar to conversation. Yeah, so I say dose. You know, you need to take your, let me rephrase this. The dose for your medicine is twice a day, or the dose is 1 pill, dose. I say an S. When I sleep, I'm going to doze. So yes, maybe Brent's a little more zeddy. That's how Canadians would say it. Musa says I and I. Definitely homophones. I and then I. I like teaching English. This is my I. Hey, members, I'm going to shortchange you on chat today because I want to get back to the lesson. Usually we do 10 minutes, but I feel like I need to keep rolling on the lesson because there's a lot more to do. So let me just get things queued up and have a sip here. And let me also say thank you to all of you who are members. If you're interested in being a member, there is a link in the description or a join button below that you can use to check out all of that. Where are we at? Okay, I'm going to move a little quicker. Bolder and bolder. So when you type in a certain font, you can type it in the normal way, or you can make it bolder. Okay. So you might type something on a document and your boss might say, make the title bolder. It means to make it thicker. If I am afraid to do things, I might want to be bolder, B-O-L-D-E-R, the same as making a font bolder. But a boulder, B-O-U-L-D-E-R, boulder is a large rock. This would be a boulder. A boulder would be like a rock that's almost the same height as I am. When you climb a mountain, you try to get to the peak. If you look at the far picture, it looks like there is a restaurant at the peak of this mountain. So when you climb a mountain, your goal is to get to the peak. This girl, though, is taking a peek around the corner. She is peeking around the corner. The verb to peek means to, like, I used to do this? I used to start my lesson, right, with the piece of paper, and then I would peek from behind the piece of paper. So steel and steel, last week we did a lesson on building materials. I think that was last week. And we talked about rebar. Rebar is made out of steel. In the far picture, you see some steel that's probably going to be used with concrete in order to make a building. This guy, though, is trying to steal something. Okay, S-T-E-A-L is the verb we use when someone is taking something that isn't theirs. The truck in the far picture is dumping waste. Waste is a general term we use for garbage or trash. Anything that we as humans don't need anymore and can't use, we say it is waste. We actually produce too much waste. Humans need to learn to recycle more stuff because we produce too much waste and it ends up getting dumped in the dump. But this guy has a belt around his waist. So you put a belt around your waist in order to hold your pants up. It's good to wear a belt. If your pants are too loose, wearing a belt will help you a lot. This mouse in the far picture has a tail. A lot of animals have tails. My dog has a tail. All of our cats have tails. My other dog has a tail. Humans do not have tails, though. This little boy, though, is telling a tale. T-A-L-E, tale, is another word for a story. It's really nice. Children really like it when their parents or grandparents read them a story or tell them a tale. So we can use the word tale, T-A-L-E, to talk about a story. I mentioned I liked it when things are on sale because I like it when things are cheap. In the far photo, you can see that things are 20, 30, or 50% off at that store. If you were to buy something there, it would be cheap. It's nice to buy things when they are cheap. Now, cheap has another meaning. When something isn't made well, you can also say it's cheap. The toy broke. Well, it was just a cheap toy anyways. But this bird is cheeping. A bird can cheep. When you hear a bird go, cheep, 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 cheep. I'm using the word cheep to make a bird sound. But in the morning, sometimes we can hear the birds cheep outside of our window. You also use chirp, cheep, chirp, or sing, but sometimes you will hear a bird cheep. Mail and mail. This one was mentioned in the chat. Sometimes you get email, which is a kind of communication. Sometimes you get a letter in the mail, like an actual envelope with a letter inside of it and a stamp. We go and get our mail every day, M-A-I-L, from the mailbox. The mailbox is along the road. I am a male. When you go somewhere and when you fill out a form, it might ask if you are male or female. And so you would check off whether you are male, which I'm not going to describe any further, or if you are female, but definitely male and male are pronounced the same way. If you are in a play, it's a little hard to see this in the far picture. If you are in a play, we say that you are playing a role. If I was in a play and I was Hamlet, someone might say, oh, what's your role? Oh, I'm playing the role of Hamlet. So role refers to your function. Someone can even ask you this about work. They can say, what's your role at work? Oh, I'm the director of education. I'm not, by the way, but that would be my role. This here is a small, what we call a bun or a roll. Sometimes when you have dinner, you'll have a roll with dinner. You can also use roll to talk about, here, I can roll this along my hand, R-O-L-L, roll. I can roll that along my hand. Read and read. So this child is reading. I think it's a child. Hard to tell. The picture is very small for me. This person is reading. They have decided to read the dictionary. It's probably hard to read the dictionary, but in the far picture, this person is reading. Things that grow along waterways. There's a certain kind of plant that grows along rivers and lakes, and we call them reeds. A reed is kind of like a grass that likes to grow in a place where it's very, very wet. So here you have a person who has decided to read, and along this lake you have a reed, some reeds, if I use the plural. This came up a little bit. Ate is the past participle of to eat. So yesterday I ate 3 meals. Yesterday I ate too much. If I'm talking about eating in the past, I would use 8. But it's also a number, 8, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How fast can I say that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When I was a kid, we used to have races at school to see who could count to 10 the fastest. If you listen, I do say every number, but I don't pronounce it very well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. That's not a good way to pronounce the numbers 1 through 10, by the way. Buy and buy. So when you go to the store, you go there because you need to buy something. You need to give someone money because you need whatever they are selling. In the far picture, you can see the person is going to buy an apple. I think it's an apple. Yes, could be pomegranates. No, apples. And I think past the apples are tomatoes, maybe. This person, though, in the closer picture is waving bye. When you say bye to someone, it means they are leaving, and you just want to say bye to them. You want to kind of, it's the opposite of hi, right? Hi is what you say when you see someone. Bye is what you say when they leave. Sell and sell. So when you have something you don't want anymore, you might decide to sell it. That means if someone gives you money, they can have it. I had a computer once and I didn't want it anymore. So I decided to sell the computer. So someone gave me money and then they took it. So that was really nice. However, on Earth, almost every living thing is made up of cells. Almost? I think every living thing is made up of cells. Cells are very, very, very tiny, tiny parts of all living things. Our bodies are made up of cells. Also, if you commit a crime, they put you in a prison cell. So that's another use of the word cell. Marry and marry. So when you decide that you like someone, you might decide to marry. You might decide to get married. So in the far picture, they have decided to marry. Around Christmas time, though, we say Merry Christmas. Or if you talk about a bunch of people who are having fun and laughing, you might say they're very merry. Now, it's kind of an older word. We don't use the word merry in the happiness sense very much anymore, but definitely merry and merry are pronounced the same. Meet and meet. When you start a new job, you're going to meet a lot of new people. In the far picture, you can see that the person is shaking hands. They're probably saying hi because as they start their job, they meet their colleagues. When you meet someone, it means that you see them for the first time. Maybe someone introduces them to you. Today, when I go to school, in the one class, there's going to be a guest speaker, and it will be fun to meet that person. Also, if you are someone who likes chicken or pork or beef, it means you like to eat meat. Meat is a source of protein that comes from animals that people cook and eat. So in the far picture, the person is definitely going to meet this person or is meeting this person. And here we have some meat. I think it's chicken. This person in the far picture ran a race and they won. They came in first place. They won the race. Hopefully, whatever sport you watch, hopefully your team has a lot of wins this year. It's really cool when you can say, my team won a lot of games this past year. And also when you count, you start with the number 1. Completely different spellings. 1 and 1, totally the same pronunciation. This is my right hand. So I wear my Fitbit and my wedding ring on my left hand. This is my right hand. I use my right hand to write. This is my dominant hand. I am right-handed. When I write, W-R-I-T-E, I write with my right hand. Is that confusing? I write with my right hand. Should I put that in the chat? Maybe I'll do that for a second here. I write with my right hand. There we go. Hopefully I did that right. Yes, I did. I write with my right hand. Some people write with their left hand because they are left-handed. When you go out on the sea, you need a really big boat. You might want to even go on a large ship if you go out on the sea. There's the Mediterranean Sea. There are many huge seas around the world, and it's definitely just a large body of water. But we also have the verb to see. Right now, I can see Jen outside. I can see Oscar. I can see a cat. I'm sorry I don't have another camera, but I can see Walter running. A lot of times, Oscar walks, our older dog, and Walter runs around him. So I can see them right now. So in the far picture, you can see the person doesn't have a lot of muscle. Their arm looks not very muscly. That would be the word I would say. So I think this person might be kind of weak. Weak is the opposite of strong. So in the far picture, I have a picture of someone who is weak. They are not strong. In this picture, though, you see on the wall, this person has written down everything they have to do during the week. So during the week, they have a bunch of things they need to do. So they have written all of those things on the wall. So if you're not strong, you're weak in the far picture. And if you think about the next 7 days, you can think about what you're going to do this week, what you're going to do the rest of the week. Hey, I'm going to answer questions now for a bit, and we're going to wrap this lesson up. As I do that, I do want to thank the 502 people that are watching. It must be a popular topic. That's more people than normal. Usually we're around 450. Anyways, if you're new here, don't forget to click that subscribe button. It makes me happy. It might make you happy. You'll have to see. Anyways, let me get to the next question. And let me get it on screen. Ty says, hey, Mr. Bob, I'm here just to say hi and stick as well. Question, how many same pronunciation words are there? Thanks in advance. There's a lot, like well over 100. There might even be more. I think this is probably part 1 of 2 lessons. These to me seem to be some of the most common, the ones that I'm teaching right now. Let's see. This is from Ibrahim. My best teacher, Bob. I'm watching your videos every day. Thank you. I just wanted to tell you, you are amazing. Thank you very much for you're welcome. You are very welcome. I really, really enjoy doing it. So Kepler says, what do you think about homophones in business English? Well, they're kind of used everywhere. So you will use some of them in business as well. I can't identify them immediately, but for sure, yes. Eric, how to classify 10 and tan. So when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you know, I have 10 fingers, 10. When I go outside in the sun in the summer, I have to be careful because I don't want to sunburn. I don't mind if I tan a little bit, but I don't want to sunburn. If you go outside for 10 days without suntan lotion, you might get a tan. Okay, so 10 is the number. Tan is when something like your skin darkens in the sun or for another reason. Juicy says, Bob, I find it difficult to remember the meaning when I learn homophones. Do you have any solution for that? Thanks a bunch. Cheers. Take this list and use every single word in a sentence. Either write a sentence or say a sentence and try to imagine the image that I gave you each time you use it. That would be a great start. Let's see. Priscilla, hello teacher, thanks for the class. By the way, how can I get the difference between dare and there without the context just by listening to it. So when you dare someone to do something, or when you dare to do something, it means you have courage to do it. And then, you can point over there. It's a location. So when I speak quickly, do you dare to go over there? I am saying each word differently. Do you dare? My tongue is on the roof of my mouth. Okay. Do you dare? It's inside, up. Do you dare to go over there? You will see my tongue a little bit when I say there, the location. So dare and there. So overpronounce those two, Priscilla, until you get it. Let's see here. Sehun says, hi, Bob. Hope you are doing well. Can you tell the difference how to pronounce bye, bye, and bye? I think I covered that, but I parked my car by the tree. I'm going to buy a new coat, and I'm going to wave bye in about 5 minutes when this lesson is done. Let me see here. I'm going to skip some sentences. Mohammed says, Mohammed says, hi, Bob. How is the weather in Canada nowadays? It's a little cold and a little rainy, but today it is sunny, and it will be a high of about 10 degrees today. So it's a little cooler. Let's see here. Live and kicking. Homophones. Should we learn the pronunciation first or the meaning of them first? Such a tricky topic today, though. Great work, Bob. I would learn them together, learn them with images that you can see, and use them immediately in a sentence that you write, and say the sentence out loud. All of that will help you. The word with the image is what I really wanted you guys to see today. I wanted you to see the word, read with someone reading under it, and read, and then a read by a lake under it. The visual image with the word is hopefully going to be the most helpful. Shota Blue, hi Bob. To me, can and can't in a spoken language are almost a homophone. LOL. Do you native speakers sometimes need to ask back to verify if it's can or cannot? Yes, a lot. We have started to say the word can and the words can't, or the contraction can't, so quickly that it's hard to tell. Like, can you come over? Yeah, I can come over. No, I can't come over. So at least there you have the yeah or no. But yeah, if I said to someone, I can't eat this, I'm saying that I cannot eat it, but it sounds the same, doesn't it? So a lot of times it's context. And yes, we do often say, did you say can or can't? And then we'll overpronounce it. PP says, why do you giggle a lot? Shame on you. I giggle a lot because I have a lot of joy and happiness when I do live lessons. I have always liked teaching things, and so I'm just going to keep on giggling. There's no need to stop giggling. Giggling and laughter, I think, are good. They're just good. I'll give you a simple explanation. Lei says, hello, Bob. Have a good day. You too. Let's see. Mohammed says, are you still playing game in the winter? I'm not sure what game. I don't play a lot of game, but we don't play outside a lot in the winter. We do a lot of hiking in the fall. And then when there's snow on the ground in the winter, we might play outside. We might do go tobogganing or sledding. Let's see. Sophia says, hello, dear teacher Bob. No question today. I just want to say that with every lesson, this world is getting better and warmer. Thanks a lot. Take care. I do my best. That's all I'll say. I like doing it. People like learning. I'm going to keep doing it. I'm glad people like it. Khalid. Hi, teacher. Little R missing there. Where can I learn complete grammar? I'll fix that up for you. I don't teach a lot of grammar on my channel, and I do that intentionally. I think it's important to learn grammar. Sometimes I think it's better to learn grammar from a book. But I, on my channel, like to teach phrases. I like to teach usage. I like to teach what to say in certain situations. So, yeah, I think that's a tricky one. I think the best way to learn grammar is from not me. I'm not the greatest grammar teacher. I've done a few lessons on it. I might do more. But I think there are a lot of other YouTubers that do a great job teaching grammar. Harry300 says, is there any words to describe 1, drinking by touching a bottle's mouth with your mouth? No. Drinking by pouring water from a bottle into your mouth. No. We would just say drinking from a bottle. I'm going to drink it straight from the bottle. Sometimes we'll buy a 2-liter of soda or pop, which is meant to be shared, and then we will pour it into glasses because it's rude to drink it straight from the bottle if other people want to share it with you. So we would use that phrase though, to drink it straight from the bottle. Maybe that helps a bit. Azam says, hi teacher, I don't have questions today. Just want to say hi. Hi. I appreciate your live class. No problem, Azam. Phil, could the word cheap be inappropriate in any circumstance? When you use the word cheap to describe someone, you need to be careful because it can be kind of rude. Like, oh, he won't buy that. He's too cheap, or she's really cheap. It means that you think that person doesn't like spending money, and you think that's silly or something. You're making a comment on their behavior. And there are a few other uses too, where if you're using the word cheap to describe people, you need to be careful. Let's see here. Freddie the Alsatian, salut Bob, do you think that French homophones, plus, elle, elle, il are trickier than the English ones? Merci et bonne journée à toi. Yes, I do. You notice I got tripped up on elle, des ailes. Yes, they are tricky. But because plus and plus, right? Like sometimes you say the S, sometimes you don't. It's tricky. Je ne comprends pas. Il y a des fois où je dis plus et il faut dire plus. It's tricky, very tricky. Next question. Dear Bob, thanks for this great video. I also show your other videos on my English lessons. My students enjoy it from Hungary. Well, I'm glad you are able to get some usage out of my lessons. Oh, I can shoo a fly away. Did you see it? I can shoo a fly. If I had a shoe, I could use my shoe to shoo this fly away. Iwa says, happy Teacher's Day. Thank you very much in Poland. Let's see here. And last question from Bethania. Hi, Bob. Could you comment the difference between shit and sheet? It sounds the same to me. Thanks a lot for your lessons. You're a great teacher. So first of all, the first word, S-H-I-T, I don't use in my videos. It's considered a minor swear word. Some people do say it. But sheet is something that you put on your bed. So sheet is like a long E sound, sheet. There's a farm animal called a sheep. And if you put a T on the end, sheet, it's like a blanket you put on your bed. And then S-H-I-T, it rhymes with hit. There you go. So it rhymes with hit. That's as much as I'll say about that one. Hey, that's all the questions, everyone. Let me just double check. Yes, wait, there might be one more. I think one just came in. Let's get it back on the screen for a sec. I have time. From Gune. Wait, did the questions not? That's weird. Question didn't pop up. I guess sometimes, oh, I see. Let me go. Gune, how can I participate in your class? Well, you are. If you're here, you are. I have no paid classes. There is a live lesson every Friday. There's a live lesson the first Saturday of every month, and there's a edited lesson every Tuesday. That's it. That's what you get. If you're interested, there is a second channel. I have a channel called Bob's Short English Lessons, 2 short videos a week where you can learn some more advanced phrases. But that's about it. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching. If you want to help yourself remember this, watch this video again. It will come out in a shorter version in a couple days. I say this every week, but I do think it's a good thing to do. This one, though, if you rewatch the shorter version of this lesson, you might want to actually watch it. I know a lot of you will listen to my lesson a second or third time. It might be important to sit down and watch this one again, because it's important to see the images as I'm teaching the lesson so that you can associate the spelling of the word with the image when you're doing it. Anyways, thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks, Dave, for hanging out and moderating the chat. I'll say bye to as many people as I can. Bye, Maria C, Lolly, Noriko, Wanda Prado. Oh, my glasses need to be clean. Wow. Okay. Bye to Musa, Mode Eggs, Claudia, Aideen, Ricardo, Banwan22, Musa, Anuat, Ricardo. Bye, Ralph. I'm repeating myself. Line Cat. Bye, Freddie Wolf. Freddie says, let me say bye-bye and a big thank you to you for this interesting lecture. Have a great weekend. You too, Freddie. See you, Yaroslav, CS team. Bye to all my members and non-members. I like all of you. You don't have to be a member for me to like you. I like everybody. Bye, Duong, Durong, Orkan, Martha, Leon, Ario. Hey, Ario. Good to see you. John Wedge. Bye to John. Pri, Suratat, Key Park, Ko Kwang, Cherry, Mr. M, Kong Yan, Ying, Montserrat. I'm going to stop saying bye now. Bye to Isa as well. Isa says, hello, Bob. In Poland today is Teacher's Day, so I would like to express my best wishes and thank you for being there for us. You are welcome, and I think that's a great one to end it on. So thanks for watching, everybody. I'm going to have a sip of water, and that's my outro, by the way, is me having a sip of water. Have a great weekend. New video Tuesday, by the way. I think it'll be a good one. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't actually made it yet, so we'll see. I'm a little behind this week. And I am going to keep giggling when I make lessons. I can't help myself sometimes. In English, we say, I crack myself up. That's when you make yourself laugh. Sometimes I crack myself up. So anyways, bye.